Hello everyone and welcome to Harv's World for another episode of Ravensberg. The snow keeps coming. Let me tell you, so much of the snow. There is a lot of snow and it's forecasted for at least 2 more days here. It's crazy with snow. And right now I've been trying to load manure to get that under control a little bit, and there's too much snow. I have to clear this out before I can get that done. Now I did manage to finish up the snow clearing for the fire department. I got that taken care of. That was quite the challenge. It was not nearly as easy as clearing that industrial parking lot or whatever you want to call it. It wasn't nearly that easy. It was very finicky, actually. It took a lot to get that to 100%, but I did manage to get it done. I mean, they wanted every bloody snowflake off the ground, let me tell you. It happens, you know. What else? I've been cutting more trees. I'm not sure that we'll get that done this winter. That might have to be a multi-year project. Not completely sure yet exactly how that's going to play out, but one way or another, we'll have some extra area to work with. Look at the amount of snow. It's just craziness. Craziness. Welcome to Germany, land of harsh winters. At least it hasn't dropped below about 24 degrees. I guess we have that going for us. It's not bloody freezing cold, but it's still too much for me. I'm not a cold weather person. I like sunny, warm days. And yeah, I'm probably being a little more finicky about this than I necessarily need to be, but if you're gonna do a job, do it right. There we go. That's the last of it. So, Germany and Christmas. I mentioned this before, and we are definitely following up with that today. There's a lot going on when it comes to Germany and Christmas. A whole lot going on. I mean, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the name Kris Kringle, often used in association with Santa Claus or Saint Nicholas. There's interesting stories behind all of that, actually. The Christmas tree, O Tannenbaum. Yes, that is a tradition that started in Germany. The Christmas tree is very much a German tradition. Getting just a little bit squirrely there. Oh, yeah, more snow coming. No. Oh, Harv, come on. Stop spilling it everywhere. My fingers. See, it's my fingers sticking to the wheel that's causing this. There we go. That'll do. That will do. That'll do. Man. It's not near the problem that we had with Herr Huber, but... And to be honest, I mean, this isn't making us a lot of money. The last load of this I took to the biogas plant only brought in about 7,000 euros. So, you know, this is just, and I mean just, an attempt to keep the manure processing under control. Otherwise, we'd be swimming in it. Now, when spring gets here, hopefully we can get some spring crops brought in, and then we'll start going through manure again like a wildfire. The snow. You know, I actually thought about clearing the farmyard. And this is the area right here that I cleared for the fire department. And look at this, it's already filled back in again. Christmas traditions. So, I'm sure most of you have heard about Advent calendars and the like. Well, the Advent calendar is a tradition that also comes from Germany. We are going to get much more in depth into all of that here very, very shortly. But for now, I'm going to run this to the biogas plant, get this trailer cleaned up and put away, and then haul some logs. So the origins of Santa Claus. I mean, that's one of everybody's favorite Christmas traditions, right? Santa Claus teaching the little kids who Santa Claus is and that he's going to bring them presents and they better be good. Naughty and nice and all that jazz. Well, Santa Claus actually doesn't start in Germany. He doesn't. He starts in Greece. Oh, really? Are we going to get stuck on this pile of snow? I guess I should have cleaned up this intersection a little bit better. Come on now, brother. Come on. Really? 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 Fine, we'll go this way. Anyhow, Saint Nicholas, he was a real man. He was a Greek priest, and, well, he gained a reputation for being kind, and he's considered the patron saint of children. Now, the story goes that he was a wealthy man. He had inherited a lot of money from his family, and at some point he decided to give all that up. And I can't remember the exact way to the sawmill or to the wood drop off. I think it's down this way. He decided to give all that away and become a priest. Now, this is in like the year 300 or so. And yes, I'm just going to wipe out these signs because I can and it's free. I don't have to pay to put them back. Somebody does, but not me. Anyway, he gave away everything, became a priest, decided he wanted to live his life that way, and ultimately started... What? I'm not even like touching anything. Look at that. Collisions. Bad collisions. It's like a bad song from the 80s. I'm losing my collisions. Anyway, one of the stories about him goes... Wow. That's another 40 grand right there. We're going to make some money off these trees. And I should have should have released the hounds before I went over there. Wow. And I'm going to tell you right here now, after all, I made all that money off these trees before, I actually set the economic difficulty to hard because I felt like the money was going to be too easy, and it's still at hard going to be probably too easy. Oh well, we'll find a way to use it. I mean, Frau Baumann does have a lot she wants to accomplish, so this will just help us along that path. Anywho, one of the stories goes about St. Nicholas that he met a man who had 3 daughters. Now, in this day and age, not so much this way anymore, but in this day and age, if you wanted your daughter to marry somebody, you had to provide what's known as a dowry. This could come in many forms. A lot of times it came in the form of cash. But, you know, I could provide a dowry of X number of cattle, or let's see if I can sneak around this bloody snow pile this time. Oh, made it. or something along those lines. Or, it could be 10 pieces of gold, 3 goats, a basket of wheat, and whatever. Well, this man had no money. He was very, very poor and could not provide a dowry for his daughters. So, St. Nicholas, hearing of this, and realizing that if this poor man couldn't get his daughters married, that they would most likely be forced into prostitution. I mean, that's a lovely concept, right? I either have to pay to get my daughters married, or they're going to become prostitutes. Yeah, don't sign me up for that one. That's what I wanted. Clean up this log pile a little bit. You can see I've cleared out a whole lot in that time we had remaining. Anywho, the man did not want his daughters to be forced into prostitution, and St. Nicholas, being the benevolent priest that he is, snuck into the man's house at night and dropped 3 sacks of gold, 1 for each daughter, into some stockings that were hung by the chimney to dry. And so you can see where some Christmas tradition comes completely, right out of that story, and that St. Nicholas was a very benevolent, giving person. So that's sort of where the origins of St. Nicholas and Santa Claus comes from, and like any good story, it has evolved over time. So the Dutch, they had another name for jolly old St. Nick. It was Sinterklaas. Again, you can see where that could easily be translated into Santa Claus. And this took place over a period of time. Obviously, I mean, Christmas, the tradition of Christmas, is several hundred years old now. We're talking back to the 1600s. Now, the story of St. Nicholas goes all the way back to, 200 or 300, but Santa Claus and things associated with Santa Claus, start dating back to around the 1600s. Hey, just about the time of the golden age of piracy. Wow. I wonder if there's a connection there. No, I'm sure there's not. Anyway, moving right along. There were many books and poems written about Christkindl, Santa Claus, Christkind, stuff like that. Now, one thing that I found out that was very interesting is that at one point, Christmas was outlawed. The church felt like it had become too much of a paganistic and almost sacrilegious ceremony. And so they said, we're not doing this Christmas thing anymore, and anybody who thinks they are, well, we're just gonna make it illegal. So Christmas became illegal. But because people are who they are, and it's winter time, you've got all of these people who, their fields are harvested. There's not much they can do, much like us right now, where they wouldn't have a big forest to go out and log. They would just be sitting at home, taking care of their animals, and waiting for spring to come. You also have sailors at this point who are sitting around. There's our pirate connection. Bored sailors. Isn't that where we associate pirates? Anyway, they're sitting around. They've got all this time on their hands, and people being who they are when they get bored. And let's face it, in the 1600s, it's not like they were going to sit inside all winter and play on their PC or Xbox or on their phones or whatever. No, they were looking for something to do, and they were out drinking, partying, reveling, and just generally getting into trouble and causing trouble. And so at some point, because of all the trouble that was taking place, someone decided to begin a tradition a winter tradition of Christmas again, but with a different spin on it. And so this is all very summarized, so, you know, I can't give you an entire brief on Christmas. You wouldn't even sit through that. But, and yeah, it's 4:30 and it's already getting dark. But that's where Christmas really starts to take on the traditions that we know it, or the form in which we know it, because they were looking for a way to keep adults from getting into trouble. And yeah, I know I'm making a mess out of this wood pile, but as long as they're reasonably close together, I think my trailer can handle it. And you can see, you know, time is passing by very quickly, and I don't think we're going to get through this whole forested section in this winter. I really don't see it happening. So that's where Santa Claus comes from. Then, you know, you can go into, well, start thinking about other Christmas traditions. Now, the Christmas tree, as I mentioned earlier, is very much comes out of Germany. And oh, we're gonna lose it. Am I just too extended? I must just be too extended. There we go. Oh, suck it in. Suck it in. There we go. Man, I really thought I was going to go that time. Man, there are some big trees here too. Really big trees. And, I mean, yeah, as we're cutting these trees right now, you can think of, you know, the evergreen, the pine, and all of this kind of started with people decorating their homes in the winter with pine boughs. And then at some point, it translated into bringing trees indoors, but originally, those trees were hung upside down. I don't know the purpose of hanging them upside down, but it didn't last long. Obviously, it would be very impractical to try to hang a tree from the ceiling. Although I want to say that I have heard of people who still do this. You know, not many, just a few. I know I've heard of at least one person who's hung a Christmas tree upside down from the ceiling. We're going to have plenty of wood to haul. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell exactly how far along we are. And then there's also the aspect of, you know, Germans have what are called Christmas pyramids. And this is, you know, this is a tradition that stems from the Christmas tree. They're very closely linked together, and these pyramids are very cool. They make some very decorative ones. Now, you can still get them. Some people have claimed that the Christmas tree came because it looked like the pyramid. The pyramids were much easier to keep in the house. And then others claim that the pyramids were created to resemble the shape of the Christmas tree. I don't know, take your pick. But now they are very intricately detailed decorations for the home. And of course, you know, bringing the tree in, they would decorate it with fruits and things of that nature. And then back in the day, I'm sure all they had were candles. Ooh, see how dark it gets out here at night? I mean, man, it is just pitch black. Pitch black. Alright, I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to grab the car, head home, because it's just too dark to keep working out here. I'm going to end up killing myself. Look at this. This guy just let his field go. It's completely withered. Lost crop. Job opportunity. Anyway, we'll catch up in the morning and talk more about Christmas trees and German Christmas traditions. Okay, just finishing up feeding these cattle. Oh, it's not as simple as you might think. I mean, they have 4 food groups, and so it's load 1, bring it down, dump it. Load the second one, bring it down, dump it. 4 trips to get them filled up. I did discover, however, that if at some point I should start running low on feed. Now, I don't want to take this route simply because, well, truth of the matter is, I'm going to need more straw too. I don't want to spend the money on it, but if I have to, there is a local supply company that does sell total mixed ration. As I've said numerous times, total mixed ration will not completely do the job for these cattle. We're still going to need hay, but hay is much easier to come by than some of this stuff. So, I don't know, we'll toss that idea around. Use it as necessary, I suppose. Now, one of the things you may not know about the Christmas tree, and you know, this doesn't go to anybody's belief system necessarily. This is just information. Whatever you believe is fine by me. If you're a member of a different religion and have different beliefs, then I fully support that. I grew up with Christianity, and that's where a lot of these traditions and beliefs come from, Christianity. Anyway, there's one story that says the Christmas tree is a symbol of the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, because of its pyramid-like shape, which also explains the German Christmas pyramids. And there's also another tradition that stems back to the Christmas pyramids. It's the Schwiebogen. Anyway, what it means, or what it is an arch. And surely you've seen these. An arch that has basically a bunch of candles. Like a candelabra. Usually 5. 5 is the traditional amount. And that's, you know, the Schwiebogen and the pyramids are very closely tied together. One of the reasons that the Christmas pyramids became so popular is that they are carved by master craftsmen, of course, from an area in Germany in the Black Forest that's very, very much known for high quality wood crafting. So there's that. Now, something else you may not have known that comes from Germany is the Advent calendar. Surely you have seen an Advent calendar. And what an Advent calendar is, if you're not familiar with them, it's a calendar that you can give somebody on the first day of December. A lot of times it'll look like a house or something like that, but it's got every day of the month on it leading up to Christmas. Sometimes it'll look like little windows or, you know, whatever the design is. And each day before Christmas you open up one of the windows, and a lot of times it'll have a little piece of candy hidden in there and then some fact about Christmas. So the Advent calendar is very, very much direct from Germany Christmas tradition. Then what else do we have? Well, there is something. Oh, there is, yes. We're actually going to lay to rest something that I was actually very interested to discover. I had only heard about this a few years ago. I did not know that even such a thing was a thing. And somebody told me about the Christmas pickle. Yes, the Christmas pickle. Now, tradition states, at least based from what this person has told me, tradition states, and yes, I'm driving out to the woods this time. I'm not going to walk out there. It's too bloody cold. Anyway, tradition states that when everybody goes to bed at night, the little kitties are asleep. And yes, at some point I tried to plow this, and you can see it snowed overnight again. I just filled it in. And this is exactly why I haven't bothered doing much in the way of plowing around here. Because the snow is ridiculous. So anyway, all the little kitties go to bed, and somebody puts an ornament of a pickle on the Christmas tree. They hide it in there. And the tradition is that, you know, the most observant child will be given an extra gift because they will find the Christmas pickle. Now, people would have you believe that this is some kind of German Christmas tradition, when in fact, looking into the Christmas pickle, I discovered that that is a complete fabrication. I don't know where it comes from. It seems awfully silly, wouldn't you say? The articles that I've read about it, you know, specifically states that they had asked people in Germany if they knew about the Christmas pickle and what it represents and how it got started, and people, you know, the German folks looked at them like they were absolutely insane. Like, what is this Christmas pickle thing you're talking about? We've never heard of such a thing. And there I go, just totally screwing up my load. Look at that. Harv, Harv, Harv. But it's going to keep trying. It's going to keep trying. So you know what that means? That means I need to unload. Oh, let's see. What are we going to do to unload this thing? Z. Let's show our unloading position, though, just to make sure that it's not going to go somewhere funky. That's where I want it to unload. Come on, get it out of here. As much trouble as I went to get it to load, and I did have to jump through some bloody hoops. Now we're just going to have to let it reload. But no, it's an interesting story. It's cute, it's fun, it's whatever you want it to be, but it is absolutely positively without basis in fact. There is no tradition of Christmas pickles. None whatsoever. Alright, now let's reload this and see what we got. It's going to load back to front this time, but meh. We'll see. Now, I'm not going to say it's not worth, not worth participating in. That would just be silly. You know, if that's your thing, then that's your thing. And you want Christmas pickles, go right ahead and have a Christmas pickle, and we'll leave the story and do with it what you will. But the truth of the matter is, it's not a German Christmas tradition. It never was a German Christmas tradition. More than likely, what it really is another one of those, what do we call that? Yes, commercialization. It's more than likely based in fact that it came from some manufacturer of Christmas ornaments, and there are very, very famous manufacturers of Christmas ornaments. But the Christmas pickle does not have any story behind it. None whatsoever. There was an interesting story, and I'm just remembering this now, that there is a mention of a Christmas pickle from the American Civil War. And the story goes, and I don't remember his name, that a Union soldier was captured and he was sent to Andersonville Prison. Now, if you know anything about Andersonville Prison, it was a Confederate prison for Northern soldiers, and it was and is known for its extreme brutality. Tens of thousands of people died at Andersonville Prison, mostly from neglect, disease, pretty horrific conditions at Andersonville. But this soldier on Christmas Day knew he was dying and begged one of the guards for a pickle. He's like, all I want is a pickle, please. Before I die, let me have a pickle. I mean, this guy must have loved pickles. If that's his dying wish, is to have a pickle, this guy loved himself some pickles. The story goes that the guard gave him the pickle, took mercy on him, had some compassion, and gave the guy a pickle. Well, this one act of kindness, this picklish act of kindness, if you will, gave the guy the strength of will to carry on. Man, another 41K, and we've got a few logs that still need to sell. €43,000 worth of wood right there. Man. Yeah, Frau Bauman's little forest is a gold mine. Literally a gold mine. And so, because this pickle gave him the strength of will to carry on, he actually did survive Andersonville Prison. And as I said, that's not something that happened to many people. And he began the Christmas tradition of a Christmas pickle, where he would hide this pickle in the tree. And it wasn't about gift giving, it was about whoever found the pickle would be blessed with luck and good fortune throughout the rest of the year. Or throughout the upcoming year, I should say. So that's one story about the pickle. But as far as its German origins, that's complete fabrication, most likely made up by people who wanted to sell ornaments. The last thing I'm going to mention, I did touch on this just a little bit previously. But Christmas markets are actually very, very much a German invention. They're very, very popular in Germany. Very popular in Germany. In fact, the city of Berlin alone has over 60 Christmas markets that run through the month of December. They start late November, and through the month of December, they will provide their wares, if you will. You want an ornament? Go to the Christmas market. They'll get you hooked up. Want any kind of Christmas gift, and it's traditionally handmade, crafted goods, foods, about what you would think of, about what you would expect from from a local market like that. But it's it's obviously going to be very much dedicated to Christmas, and that tradition is slowly but surely making its way into other cultures. It's a lovely tradition, actually, and they really go whole hog. I mean, some of the famous German Christmas markets just really, 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 really take it over the top. Well, I am going to keep the cattle going. I'm going to keep working on these logs, haul a little bit more manure. I will say that the manure came across last night just under 4,000 euros. So again, we're not making a lot of money. It's more about manure control at this point. I'm going to keep battling the snow, see what we can bring in for Frau Baumann that will keep this farm moving forward, get her cattle up there. Maybe start looking into those chickens that she wants, start working on getting her dairy up and running. But I think that's going to do it for this episode of Ravensberg. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to hit the like button down below. I very much appreciate you coming along for the ride. And until next time, take care.